For 7 decades, the St. Ignatius Alumni Association has bestowed the Christ the King Award on one of its own. It is the highest honor the school gives to a graduate who is distinguished in their profession and who best exemplifies the ideal of service to God and His people.
The Christ the King Award is quite honestly the most important thing we do for the St. Ignatius Alumni Association. It's given to the candidate that best distinguishes themselves professionally, given back to SI in a most significant way.
It is the highest award we give to our alumni, which dates back to the 1960s. So, on this day in 2023, which marks the 62nd time the Christ the King has been awarded, we honor, from the St. Ignatius class of 1958, Mr. Bob Drucker.
The city was a great place. We were out here in the Sunset where a lot of people drifted from, the inner city, the old parts of San Francisco. Came out here and it was a block. We were on 24th between Moraga and Noriega, and we had German family, we had an Italian family, we had a Russian family, we had a Greek family, we had a Scandinavian family. Most of those kids went to public school, went to Lincoln. There was a couple of us kids that went to SI. It was a happy time. I've got good memories of Noriega Street and living and being raised in the Sunset. I knew Father Carlin because when I was a senior, I was a student body treasurer. So I had to do all the ticket money. So I did all the counting of the money and the tickets for the AAA in his office. He sent me to Father McFadden, and I had no connection with Father McFadden other than he grew up in the Sunset and he went to St. Anne's like I did. I was working in a pharmacy and I get a phone call. The pharmacist gets a phone call and he goes, "Bob, it's your mother." And I said, "Okay." Mom goes, "Get over to school right now. They want to give you a contract." So I ran over to school. J.B. Murphy's waiting for me. They'd already signed Chuck and Leo. And so I signed on, and that was the start of it.
In 1968, I was a first-year scholastic, a mister, at the old SI on Stanton Street. And he was a history teacher and basketball coach. That's when we first met.
For that first year, it was kind of a shock. We had always had, you had Dan Belomini, Simpson. Those were second fiddle guys. Bob was the man. Ed McFadden always said, "You hire for character, not a resume." Bob's resume was, he beat Holy Name in a tournament at Reardon. Oh, great, Bob, that's really good. Well, everybody knew he was a quality guy. Ed McFadden hired him. And Ed McFadden, well, he hired me and he hired a bunch of guys, Silvestri, myself. He knew what he wanted, which was, he'd say, "I don't care what you know or don't know. I'll shape you into what you need to be as a coach and as a teacher."
We didn't miss a game. We would never miss a game. And that was just a unique part of our life that not many people experience, but it was a huge piece of the fabric of our childhood. SI basketball.
After I was able to get a full-time job at SI, Bob quickly became my mentor, and I started to follow him around campus and just watch the way that he worked with our students. And the first thing I noticed about Bob is that he was just a natural at counseling. Obviously had a lot of experience as a teacher and a coach, knew how to work with kids and how to build rapport, and that was the most noticeable thing. He used his humor, and he was able to build rapport with kids really quickly so that if they needed to be challenged, they could take and accept a challenge from Bob.
Bob is a mensch, and as I understand it, I don't really speak Yiddish in any sense of the word, and it's not ever in my opinions, but I understand that a mensch is a person of integrity and honor, and certainly Bob is that, and then some.
In life, he's always been there for me. He knows I went through some tough times from a personal standpoint and a family standpoint, and he was always there for me. Somebody I could call and talk to, and as I got older and seeing other coaches that I had, as a player, I always came back to Coach Drucker.
He was really good at separating basketball from family. He was really, really good at that. And it's funny because now we know that it was inside him, but he compartmentalized dad and coach.
After my first year at SI, Dan Bawamini, who was a teammate of mine and a year behind me, he went to USF to be Gaylord's assistant, and the job opened up. The first year that I coached, we were at the old school. We had the first year of the WCL, and I've got all these kids, and I really don't know how good they are on a high school level. I know them from grammar school level, but not high school level. The worst thing that can ever happen to a first-year coach is to win a championship, because now you think you know a lot, and you really don't. You're not even close. But we win it in overtime, really exciting. Place is packed.
Great memories that I had playing for Coach Drucker in St. Ignatius. I got to see him at a different level because I didn't enter SI until my beginning of my junior year. So I was at a smaller school and I was looking to transfer, but I went to games even before I got to SI and went to see what type of style they were playing, how the coaches were, and he just stood out.
I think he had just won another championship and we were really good. And he says, well, that's it for me. I did ask him, are you doing this because you're at the top of your game and you want to do that? That had nothing to do with it. He just thought, you know what? I'd done my deal and I'm going to move. That's when he really got good in the classroom.
We were going down to play Sarah, and it was a road game, of course, and you had to be back at the school at a certain time for the bus. One of my teammates was due to pick me up, so I was waiting at my house for him. He was running late, and I had no alternative but to wait for him. I couldn't, jump on the bus at that time, so I knew we were going to be late. So I'm just like, oh, man. And we're getting close to SI, and all of a sudden, we're going one direction, and I see the bus going the other direction. I'm like, oh, no. He left. He left without me and this other starter. We knew where the game was, so of course we turned around and drove to the game, and we even beat the bus there. And I walked past Coach Drucker, and we didn't start. The two of us didn't start, and we ended up losing. Hey, you got to have your things together. You've got to be on time, and you got to be early. And that stuck with me. Just a little thing, but I'll always remember that.
They started the women's program in '89. The 2002 season, we had big girls, we had athletic girls, we had a girl that was a scholarship player in college. They were terrific free throw shooters. We worked hard with them, and they worked hard for us. And it was one of the best feelings I ever had when we beat Midi down at Santa Clara that night. We made like 28 out of 36 free throws in that game. Well, first of all, 36 free throws is a lot of free throws in a game. And you make 28 on a high school level, you're really doing well. So that kind of made the difference in the game, but it was a very exciting night. One of the most fulfilling of my career. Now, the boys are not going to be happy about hearing that, but they'll get over it.
Bob Drucker is the epitome of an educator of young people, a person of the highest integrity, the highest of ethics. Bob Drucker is a great family person with his kids and his grandkids.
Bob Drucker is passionate. Bob Drucker is a family man. Bob Drucker is humble of heart. Bob Drucker is devout.
A great coach. Getting to know him as a father and to see his children and to meet his wife. He was a great man, a great husband, and a father.
Bob Drucker is a teacher, a coach, a counselor, a mentor, a family man.
Bob Drucker is a teacher. He's a coach. He's a role model. He's a friend. But for me, number one, he was a teacher.